micro PL, and then I remembered that the really big products, they also have very less competition, and you can actually get a lot of margins out of them.
What you want as an Amazon seller is to have a product that's either so much hassle for someone to copy, or has like something really stupid, like massive, like it's really heavy. So people had £500 of spend on Prime Day with 0 sales with broad match keywords, and I just sat there with my head in my hands thinking, why on earth did I do that?
What's the lowest CPC you have seen till date in advertising?
Lowest CPC?
What bidding strategy would you use on Prime Day? Because I had a very bad experience last time.
Did you use up and down?
I used the rule-based bidding, and in the first 3 hours...
No, to be honest, we tend to have CPC caps. And especially in the run-up to Prime Day, one thing we'll be looking at is talking about what
are the 3 tips for the sellers to maximize their profitability, for the Prime Day?
If you're on Prime Day, down only or fixed bids. Just don't let Amazon have control over your bidding on Prime Day, because they'll milk that to the full extent. Say most deals on Prime Day are bogus. Okay, it's like a fake holiday to a certain extent.
Like, I think this Prime Day, especially sponsored brand and sponsored brand videos, are gonna be main focus. Obviously, sponsored product is a good one, but
you have to buy your girlfriend flowers on Valentine's Day because everyone else is doing it, and he's like, you're going to get in a lot of trouble.
Hi, Hannah, how are you?
Hi, no, good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. So, Hannah, can you please introduce yourself for the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Hannah Whitlock, founder of Dog PPC. So we're an Amazon advertising agency. We've recently gone a bit more full service, but at the core of what we do, it's very much PPC focused.
Awesome. So why did you choose the name Red Dog?
I named the business after my dog, to be fair.
Nice.
We cycled through a couple of different names, and I don't know, when you're naming a business, you think, okay, well, it's got to be something that makes sense for us, but also no one else kind of has and can come after you for and say, you're using my name. We went for, we nearly called ourselves Canopy, which if you would have been a bad one with Canopy Management. So that one, but we went with Red Dog PPC because, I was on a walk with my partner, Ali, who's the other director. And we just said, we'll just name it after the dog and then no one can tell us off.
Nice. So actually, I had the same problem as well. That's why I have, just consolidated my name into it. So SZ Adil, it's actually my name. So
makes it simple. No one can tell you can't use that.
And now the problem is, like, I think about, acquisition and merger, and I'm like, I can't even sell that because, it's my name. Like,
you want to keep it anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, so it's like that. So Hannah, tell me, how did you get started in the business, in the Amazon business?
So I worked for an agency previously, and then I moved to an Amazon aggregator. So I was in the PPC space for a couple of years before I moved into Amazon specifically. But I just kind of fell in love with Amazon, if I'm honest. A lot of people hate it, but for those of us that enjoy it, it's very, very enjoyable. I think that, we were working at the aggregator and just thought that, there's certain ways that you want to run clients, and, there's certain things you agree with, certain things you don't. And starting the agency, it meant that we were able to take full control of the strategy and the advice that was being given. And so that's really what we wanted.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense as well. So you used to be Amazon PPC manager for other platforms, right?
Yes. So I started out in Google, Meta, all of those, which I think is really, really helpful, because I think coming from a background of PPC, going into Amazon is quite helpful. Obviously, I kind of fell into the trap of, treating Amazon a bit like Google at the start. And I think you learn very quickly that's not the case. So you make some mistakes, but you learn fast. So that's okay.
Yeah. So I have a joke where, if a new person goes into Google and he forgets to push those 2 asterisks and he keeps running the broad match campaign.
Honestly, but, it's always the small things that will kind of stump you at the beginning. And I do find that even nowadays, it's like little silly things that you're like, oh, I know that. So why did I do that?
Yeah. Yeah. So and but one thing about Amazon is that I want to give credit to is on Google, even if you have 100% good setup, you still have to manage the analytics, and that's a whole different thing on its own. And then if you have to go to web console, that's a whole different thing on its own. So just seeing the conversions and just trying to calculate the conversion is so hard that sometimes, like, even because I do provide Google services, so I just try to stay with it Amazon, because those are so hard. Same for Meta as well. If you go to event manager, it after 10 minutes you are like, why
Oh,
did I pick this?
there's a reason why we kind of don't stick to some of those advertising types now. But I think that if you're used to Google and Meta, when you come onto Amazon, because there's less metrics to kind of
Yeah.
pay attention to. There's much less going on in many ways. Obviously, in some ways not, but
Yeah.
I just think that if you can do that other side of things, you should be fine with Amazon once you get used to it. But of course, they're completely different beasts in terms of the way you have to strategize and think about them. So, I think there's benefits to having started with Google and Meta. And then also there are drawbacks because you've got preconceived notions of what's going to work on Amazon. And quite often it's not the case.
Yeah, it's truly not the case. Especially for Meta, I'm noticing that you don't need to do the previously we
Targeting.
used to do, yeah, targeting audience. And also I think now creative now, it's like 80% of the business, to be very honest. Like,
I think that Meta's got to that point, hasn't it, where it will find your customers. You just
yeah,
need to put the effort into the creative, and I think that that's in many ways quite a nice way of working. But of course, at the same time, I like being able to control exactly what I'm spending my money on. So
yeah, yeah. Yeah, true. But and we are seeing this the same thing transition into Amazon as well. Like, the videos are getting more popularity, and they are prioritizing the video creatives as well.
yeah, well, Amazon's definitely going to become a lot more contextual with its targeting as well. So I think it's going to be more audience focused, less keyword focused, and the creatives are a massive part of it. You can see with what Amazon's pushing. I mean, yeah, the creatives, the video, especially for sure. We focus a lot on store pages as well because I think
Yeah,
that's really important. Amazon's kind of like a mini, it's just a marketplace of all these different stores, isn't it?
yeah,
As well, that's what they want. So yeah, I think that the creatives is something that for a lot of our clients, we can sit there and I don't know if you use like a tool called Data Dive, but you go into like the competitor research with Data Dive, it will give you like a breakdown of all your competitor images and things like that.
yeah,
And that's so helpful because I think one thing that clients just aren't doing at the moment is they don't realize that it really matters. You've got one or two images just showing the product, and your competitors have 7 images with the
yeah,
video showing all the different features and benefits, what's
yeah.
inside, and you can kind of show the clients or audit clients that, and they go, oh, okay, now I see why we're not making sales, even though we're spending money on PPC, because you just don't stack up.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. And data type has actually truly, changed the game for a lot of people as well. But I'm actually one of those, I would call myself old school data type, because I still use that Excel sheet. So I
Okay.
do the data type, and then I go back into the Google Drive, and then I open up the Excel sheet so my eyes can focus on it. But yeah, the new interface is pretty good as well. But yeah, that happens as well.
It's what you're used to, though, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So, Hannah, let's jump to the topic of Prime Day.
Okay.
Like, how do you see the Prime Day, especially for Amazon? Because it's a couple of days where you get so much traffic, and there is a huge opportunity for sellers to make a lot of sales as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the opportunity is huge with Prime Day. When we did the post about Prime Day, I think it was last week, we've got someone commenting saying, it's like the necessary evil of Amazon that you've got to kind of play along with. And I think I was talking to Ali the other day, and he said, Prime Day kind of reminds me of like the idea that you have to buy your girlfriend flowers on Valentine's Day because everyone else is doing it, and he's like, if you don't, you're going to get in a lot of trouble, and you're not going to see the results that you want on the day. and
Yeah,
I kind of get that. It's like I said to you before as well. It's how does Prime Day fit in with our strategy? Not how do we adapt ourselves to Prime Day, if that makes sense. Because at the end of the day, if you're an Amazon seller, you're selling 365 days of the year.
yep,
Prime Day is one day. I think actually the lead up and the lead out are just as important. But, you know, for most sellers, it's what are you trying to do on Prime Day? Like, what are your actual goals? What are your strategies? What are your key products to push? I mean, I don't think it needs to become overcomplicated, but you do need to understand your market and, you know, what you want to achieve over, I'd say, a 2 to 4 week period. I'd say take the month as a whole and just, you know that you're going to spend a whole lot of money on the day itself.
Yeah.
And, you know, make sure that your budgets and everything are aligned for that. So it's a necessary evil, isn't it? But very much something that people need to consider in the context of what their actual goals are and what they want to achieve, because you can spend a lot of money on Prime Day and get a lot of impressions, but make no money basically by the
Yeah.
time you've spent all of that. So you need to be careful.
I have a personal question. So, what bidding strategy would you use on Prime Day? Because I had a very bad experience last time.
Did you use up and down?
I used the rule-based bidding, and in the
Oh
first
no.
3 hours,
Do you know what? I when rule-based bidding came out, we were quite excited because we had a few clients that were very much of the opinion that, you know, as long as we're above, say, a 3 ROAS, let's just increase because
yeah,
we're happy. The problem is with the rule-based bidding, it puts the bid up, but on a
yeah,
day when, you know, so say your bid started at £10 and it's gone up to 100 a day, maybe. But then
yeah,
you've got a day where actually your ROAS is 0.5 for some reason. Your budget is still that high now. You know, your bids are
yeah,
still high. So it's like it doesn't really take that into account, I don't think. So got to be careful on days like
yeah,
Prime Day. We've had some debate recently about bidding strategies. I mean, I would say that if you're on Prime Day, down only or fixed
yeah,
bids. Just you know, don't let Amazon have control over your bidding on Prime Day, because they'll milk that to the
yeah,
full extent. You know, it's like getting Amazon to set up your campaigns for Prime Day. That's a mistake I made at the beginning. It was, you know, probably my first month of Amazon, and it was Prime Day, and I thought, oh great, Amazon's, you know, trying to help me. They're telling me the campaigns to set up. I was like, Amazon's brilliant. You know, this is before I really realised. And then, you know, we had £500 of spend on Prime Day with 0 sales with broad match keywords, and I just sat there with my head in my hands thinking, why on earth did I do that? You
yeah,
know, because you should have known better. But I'd say it depends on your strategy. You know, if you're happy with that risk, I mean, some people would be. I wouldn't be. I don't know many clients that would
yeah.
be, but I would say tight control on the day, especially because that day is going to be crazy. You know, in the lead up and lead out, you can get away with it a bit more, I think. But on the day, fixed bids or down only.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Also, would you say, like, I think this Prime Day, especially sponsored brand and sponsored brand videos, are gonna be main focus. Obviously, sponsor product is a good one, but I think sponsor brand and sponsor brand video is the main thing. What do you think?
I think it's interesting because, you know, there are some clients we've got where it works amazingly well, and then some where it's really, really expensive. And I mean, it
Yeah,
depends again on your goals, because, for example, we've got certain clients who are just really interested in category dominance, you know, not allowing someone else to come and take those positions.
yeah,
And, you know, organically, you know, if you're willing to spend that money and get a poor ROAS on those SPV ads, quite often you do see a big organic boost, and you're really kind of dominating that category. At the other end of the spectrum, if you're only spending a bit of money on them and it's a competitive category, you know, it can be a bit more difficult. But I think, as you said, Amazon is definitely trying to promote, you know, the video, the creative, the display. So I would say that for sure, you need to have a good mix of advertising campaigns over Prime Day. But I would say if you're going for profitability, I would focus on sponsored products to a large extent. But sponsored brand video, especially if you're, you know, with your headlines and things like that, kind of alluding to the deals, etc., and it's very Prime Day focused, then absolutely.
yeah, makes a lot of sense. Also, have you tried that streaming TV ads?
No, we've not tried TV streaming for on like a big scale. So I mean, we have limited experience with it, so I wouldn't want to comment too much on it, because I just think that, you know, we don't have the case studies to really back up our opinions on it. Obviously, as that becomes a little bit more widespread amongst our clients, I think that that's something we'll do. We do run it for a couple, but if I'm honest, it's not a main focus for Prime Day, again, because it's a newer ad type, it's
Yeah.
unpredictable, where we've used it sometimes. So I would say that in general, for a lot of our clients, the focus is profitability. I mean,
Yeah.
for most people, especially like, how difficult things have been this year, people don't want to take massive risks on Prime Day. People want to see the great results on Prime Day, but they don't want to spend for it.
Yeah.
That's generally the case. So I think that what we're actually focusing on a lot with our clients is strategies outside of the advertising as well, which will help and have an impact. So, email marketing for the couple of weeks beforehand to your customer base. So, if you've got, for example, a top deal or a prime deal that's going to be live at that period of time, you want to make sure you've got enough converting traffic to that in the weeks coming up to that, because actually that's one of the factors that will help Amazon decide who to show on the day,
Yep.
who's performing
Yeah.
well. So, if you've got one or two products that you're looking to push on Prime Day, I'd say there's a lot of things that you can do for free that actually will have a massive impact. And that's what we try to focus on, because, I think to a large extent, the advertising on Prime Day is pretty easy.
Yep.
You capitalize on the traffic for a couple of weeks beforehand. On the day, you drop your bids. I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people argue you increase your bids. I don't know who those people really are, but I think you drop your bids, you make sure you've got enough budget, you allow the budgets for the day, but I think you're really trying to focus on profitability for those days. So it's just about gearing up and making sure you're ready, and in a prime position for Prime
Yeah.
Day.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, for the you mentioned that for you can run email as well as other external traffic ads as well. So, which platform do you think is the best for driving the external traffic towards the
Email,
Amazon listing?
love email. The email just does so well, and because if someone signed up to your email list, they're probably an engaged customer. They're
Yeah.
probably happy and want to hear from you. I think a lot of other platforms, it's not got the same sort of punch to it. What we've seen is, pre-Prime Day, sending out, special offers to your, core customers, saying, these are our pre-Prime, exclusive deals for you. Trying to make customers feel special and valued around the time. I mean, I know people are basically being bombarded by deals for like the whole of July anyway, but it's still there's a reason that everyone's emailing. It's because it works. So
Yeah.
I would say email is, if you're going to do one thing, do email to your customer list. But there's lots of other things you can do. Things like, I think it was Jeffrey Cohen who was posting about Amazon posts the other day, and
Yeah.
just free traffic on Amazon. And the
Yeah.
amount of people that just don't do that is crazy. And in the run up to Prime Day, you want to be posting with 3+ products tagged in there, getting those moving, getting those seen. So there are other ways that you can kind of drive free traffic. And your email list and your Amazon posts are just two really clear, easy examples of how to do that. So if you're someone that's focusing on profitability and you're thinking, my God, the CPCs are going to rise, and I don't know if I can afford to be as competitive as I'd like, that's okay, because I think a lot of people feel like that. It's just
Yeah.
working out what else you can do around that.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Okay, I do have another question for driving external traffic, and it's have you guys tried the influencer marketing? One influencer marketing is obviously outside the platform, for example, YouTube or TikTok, and then the other one is Amazon influencers. You have seen those, lives as well.
So
So
yeah, we've got you've got the list of all the Amazon influencers now, don't you, as well?
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So which one would you prefer for the Prime Day, or does that work, or does that not work at all?
It can work really well. But I mean, again, I think it's about finding the right influencer for your brand, because all these different
Yeah,
influencers have different markets, and the people that follow them are interested in different things. So, if you've got like a kitchenware product and you've got an influencer whose audience is really focused towards, like, I don't know, sports,
yeah,
it's kind of less impactful. I would say that you're looking for, no matter whether you use someone from the Amazon platform, recommendations, or someone external, it's really about finding the person that is going to kind of get your product out to the right audience. So
Yeah.
there's different ways you can do that. And I know that other softwares and providers have things like that. So I know Perpetua, don't they have something? I've not used it, but they've got an influencer program as well where they'll connect you with influencers, and there's lots of different ways to find them. I'd just say that, make sure that you are actually finding someone that's going to resonate with your audience,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And the biggest challenge we see on Prime Day is going out of stock. You may have seen that as well. A lot of people have that issue where they all out of sudden go out of stocks on Amazon. So what are the tips that you can give them so that they can yeah.
Well, obviously, plan ahead and be realistic. Okay, so there are deadlines for your stock to get in. Okay, so I think it's is it 23rd of June? There's a
Yeah.
deadline. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So get your stock in, basically. But also, if you can see that you're not going to have stock for Prime Day, you can see historically how many did you sell last year of that same product. You can use it as a baseline, and how much stock do you actually have right now? Because there's several things to say about this. If you're going to spend money advertising a product and then it goes out of stock, it's kind of pointless, because Prime Day is expensive as well. So you're really just paying more to get rid of a product and then
Yeah.
have nothing and have your ranking dive. The good thing is, obviously, I think with certain products, if you're running Prime exclusive deals or top deals, then for the next 4 weeks after, I think the low inventory fees don't really apply.
Yeah.
Um, so there's interesting things like that you can consider, but why are you spending more money to go out of stock? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So we'd say to our clients, we're only going to put coupons and deals and push products that are going to have the stock and aren't going to just kind of drop after, because otherwise we're doing you a disservice. So it might be the fact that a lot of sellers are sitting there in a position where it doesn't make sense for them to run any deals or promotions or to push certain products on Prime Day, but you
Yeah.
feel that external pressure to do it. And the only thing I'd say is that it's better to lose out on the sales over Prime Day and to take a bit of a hit in that way than to go out of stock and have to climb your way up the ranking again, because
Yeah.
it's just swings and roundabouts. So, just do what makes sense for you and your brand and your stock position. So if you don't have the stock, don't do it.
Yeah, to be very honest, I think 50% of Amazon management is, keeping the inventory in so that you don't go out of stock or your listing doesn't get deactivated. Because once you go down, you have to spend a lot of money to go back up to
Take
where
weeks.
you already were, and then you have to climb more up. So yeah, that's very important as well. So, can you give me some, any tips or any tricks to how to incentivize the deals and promotions that are happening on before Prime Day, after Prime Day, because it's a whole month. So how do we figure that out? Because I think the lowest price you have to do is the running 30-day period, I guess.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. You can have with the promotions that you can have on between 20 and 80% off your products. Now, I don't see many people running 80% off. I would say that you need to have a price that is going to incentivize customers to buy on that day, because you are in an environment where everyone is running a deal,
Yep.
right? Obviously, the minimum you can run is like 20% anyway. So I would be running 20+% on all of the products I'm looking to push on Prime Day. But then in the run up to that as well, where for the week or two before that, we'd be running coupons, or buy one get one free, whatever makes sense for your brand and what's worked well. But I would say 10% at least for the weeks beforehand, because there is a lot of traffic coming through.
Yeah.
I think that people kind of think, oh, Prime Day, those couple of days or whatever is going to be where people are looking for the deals. But actually, the week or two before can be more lucrative than Prime Day itself.
Yeah.
Actually, capitalizing on all of that by giving an offer to people who are coming on and browsing, and there is going to be a lower conversion rate to a certain extent. But if you're running deals and customers are looking for your product and they want it, they might just buy it before, if they're not necessarily going to wait for Prime Day.
Yeah.
So I would say in the couple of weeks beforehand, definitely 10% off your products, or however you want to run that, and actually after Prime Day as well, because you're going to have the residual traffic after Prime Day. So with the deals and incentives, work out what you can afford, because at the same time there's no point in having 50% off, 80% off, going out of stock,
Yeah,
spending all this money advertising, and actually you're in the negative. So it depends, but if we're being middle of the road, what we generally tend to do, 20% plus on Prime Day, whatever we can afford, and then in the couple of weeks before and after, we would run probably about a 10% coupon on whatever we're pushing for Prime Day,
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
our main products are.
Yeah, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Okay, now to the actual question. As a buyer, what would you buy on Prime Day? Like, what are the kind of things that you would look for?
Electronics that are really expensive. So I've bought like those laser hair removal, things that are
Nice,
like
nice.
three,
Yeah,
400 quid. I would say most deals on Prime Day are bogus. Okay, it's like a fake holiday to a certain extent. People are putting on deals. I think Amazon's gotten a lot stricter with, lowest price and historical pricing, etc.
yeah,
Good. But for the most part, you're looking at 10-20% off products, which have probably increased in price over the last couple of months, specifically for something like this. So,
yeah,
I wouldn't go and buy things that you're not already looking to buy. I wouldn't just, I mean, I look at things like we've got, so Red, our dog, he's got kidney stones. It's like a problem he has. And so we often buy his vitamins and his like treats. But on Prime Day, there's no good deals for that. So we don't go and, because my first thought is, okay, what are the things I usually buy? Go and have a
yeah,
look at those and see if they're any cheaper. And actually, I find that most things we buy are not cheaper. The good
yeah,
thing is, I think on the Amazon pages now, the product detail pages, sometimes they're showing you the historical price, aren't they? Because I just used the Helium 10 extensions, probably not, but I know that we can now see historical pricing, etc. So I'd be encouraging you to do that. I know in our last office, we had a load of people. I just told them, come and knock on our door before you buy something, and we'll tell you if it's actually a lower price or not. So we had a queue of
yeah,
people coming in and going, could you check this one? Could you check that one? Because we had extensions. So we were
nice.
like fact checking whether it was actually something you should buy. But at the end of the day, if it's something that's really expensive, generally electronics are it's a good deal. But for
Yeah.
most categories, I'd say no. What would you buy on Prime Day?
I actually bought a laptop like this, the one that I have. It's a gaming laptop, so yeah, it was very, very cost effective. And the funny thing is, like before Prime Day, I actually went to the shops and I looked at all the prices, and then I came back. It was like 20% off, so it was a very huge savings because yeah, laptops are expensive, so yeah, and I wanted to change it, so
Yeah,
yeah,
I think that's just so sensible. It's like it's the expensive electronics. So if you want
yeah.
anything expensive electronic, yeah, get it on Prime Day. But otherwise, wouldn't really bother. Shouldn't say
Yeah.
that. Should
Yeah, but on Prime, the problem with Amazon is that whenever you open that app, you end up buying something. Like it happens with me all the time that I just open the app, I'm looking at one thing that I'm like, okay, let's just search for this keyword, and I know I'm I'm an advertiser myself, but I look at one sponsored and I'm like, it looks good, let's just try it. So
I?
yeah,
Do you ignore sponsored ads on Amazon when you shop?
so I judge them. I judge their listing a lot, and I'm like, this doesn't look that good. This is like, he could have done it better. This is not the product he should be running ad for. Like,
It's not in the right category. Why is it sitting in this?
yeah, I'm giving them a free audit they don't even know about.
No, I know what a lot of them need it, but I think that yeah, it's one of those things. I would generally ignore most of the sponsored ads unless they had really good reviews. I think that reviews, because I've learned that the reviews don't really lie about the product. So
Yeah,
I go and look at a product like 1, 2, 3 star reviews before I buy it. And sometimes there's loads of people that moan on Amazon for no reason. The reviews
yeah,
that don't really deserve to be 1 to 3
yeah,
star. But then
yeah,
there are reviews that highlight specific issues about product. And I think, well, if that happened to me, would I be annoyed about that product? Okay, then I won't buy it. That's generally what I'd look at. I know, but the thing is, for most people, it's price, isn't it?
yeah,
Unfortunately, it's
yeah.
the lowest is going to be the easiest to sell for.
Yeah. And after I started using Amazon, I was like, okay, now I understand why people do the MPL. MPL is micro private label where, the product is very, less costly. So, and they do it because, I'm going to buy it anyway. Like if I look at it, if the reviews are bad, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's just 4 quid, let's just do it.
I think the problem with that though as well is like I completely agree. It's like people do pick those products because they're like, well, I can sell them cheaply, sell them in bulk, and you get the volume of it going. It's
Yeah.
fine. But I think that especially with Chinese sellers, etc., who can
Oh,
cut you, I think that the best thing is to focus on your brand, your imagery, your reviews, and just try and I would always try and build a more premium price product in the category, but you have to make sure that you're justifying that price point. And I think that that's where people go wrong a lot of the time. Either they've just got a cheap product they're trying to like sell millions of, and that works for a couple of months, and then someone sees you doing well and then undercuts your price, and you're a little bit left in the middle. What can you do then? Because you can't really start putting up your prices at that point because you are a cheaper product.
yeah, true. So, Hannah, what's the lowest CPC you have seen till date in advertising?
Lowest CPC. I mean, we get some. It depends what kind of campaign you're running, because we run some gold panning campaigns and you get CPCs of £3. Sorry, it's our dog.
Yeah, that's Red Dog.
That's Red Dog, so that's who the business is named after. But you can see really, really low CPCs for stuff like that. But to be honest, we tend to have CPC caps, and especially in the run up to Prime Day, one thing we'll be looking at is talking about what is the kind of top cap CPC that we can really work with. And maybe that's not for your top keywords, but maybe it's for the other 80%. You would say, okay, we can't actually be bidding above £1 or £1.20 because it just doesn't make sense on scale. And then you just focus maybe on a couple of keywords where you're actually happy to spend a little bit more, like your hero keyword. But I mean, yeah, CPCs are rising, aren't they?
Yeah.
We've
Yeah,
got
they are.
it's funny when you talk to clients about low CPCs and they say, yeah, 20 to 30p, I'm happy with that. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure everyone would be happy with that as well. Unfortunately, that's not what we're going to be able to achieve in this category, probably. But yeah, what about you?
I have seen the lowest I have seen in UK is the 35p, and the reason I saw it was because it was such a big product that it needed to be shipped by FBM. So it was basically lawn chairs set of it, and it had no competition because obviously who is going to build the lawn chairs and pay the fees and stuff like that. So there was no competition, no Chinese seller,
Yeah.
no Chinese seller at all. So, and I was like, and obviously one product was like, I think 3,000 or 2,000 pounds. And I was like, this guy just needs to, make 3 or 5 sales to, make up for his month, and, he'll be on his way. So I was like, it was a pretty interesting discovery. I was talking about micro PL, and then I remembered that, the really big products, they also have very less competition, and you can actually get a lot of margins out of them.
What you want as an Amazon seller is to have a product that's either so much hassle for someone to copy,
Yeah.
or has like something really stupid, like massive, like it's really heavy. So people don't want to get into it because they don't want to pay the fees for the shipping of a really, really heavy product. Something that differentiates you, because if you're adding an extra step of difficulty into someone copying you, you're basically guaranteeing that most people won't. Because
Yeah.
most people that enter Amazon with the cheap products, etc., they just want to, they want to do it because they think it'll be easy, but actually it's not.
Yeah, to be very honest, yeah. So, Hannah, usually we try to cap it at 30 minutes, so it's kind of over time. So,
Yeah.
I do have one last question for you, and that is, what are the 3 tips for the sellers to maximize their profitability, for the Prime Day?
Right.
Three
So
tips.
make sure you don't go out of stock, because otherwise
Yeah.
all of the work you've done is basically null and void anyway. I'd say make sure that you are running, all of your external traffic. Try and get anything you can do for free to drive traffic to your listings. You should be doing it. So that's the email, that's the posts, anything like that. And then I would say, look, run the deals, but make sure that on the actual day for Prime Day, you're dropping your bids. I would say, you know, your bids can be competitive in the run up to Prime Day, but for the actual day, I'd cut them in half. You know, that's such a general statement. But just go in and make sure that, you know, you should already be ranking, you should already be in position for Prime Day. So then when it comes to Prime Day, you shouldn't be having to spend as much to compete because you're already there. Okay. And if you're not, well, you know, it's just going to be more expensive. So I would lower your bids on Prime Day.
So I usually don't lower my bids, but I will try this time. So yeah, I'm gonna take that tip and let's try this
Be
out.
careful, obviously,
So
because you don't want to lower them to the point where you completely drop off. But I would say that something like 25%, you know, is usually pretty safe. But that's if you are at, you know, you're number one organically for your main keyword, and you know,
yeah,
they show, and it's just going to be a more expensive day, and everyone's got loads of budget for that day. So I just would not. I'd increase your budgets, but I would decrease the bids. Get more bang for your buck on Prime Day, and just
yeah,
capitalize on the
yeah,
beginning couple of weeks and the end couple of weeks, because you'll make more money there generally.
yeah. My one tip would be don't run rule-based bidding and don't run up and down. That's the only thing
Fixed
from
or no
advertising.
bids. Yeah, go through your bidding strategy, because up and down or anything like that or rule based is just not, it's not the one.
Yeah. So Hannah, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. It really meant a lot, and hopefully, people have taken some advice from us, and they will be able to have a good Prime Day.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
thank you so much.